It is written it is group 16 because it is 16. Then shipment budget was group 16. Some groups are group 16 ones. They just change the schedule.
They just afraid that I give a different. Okay. So that's I'm ready. So dua kopi ke? Same eh?
This one with quick integration.
Oh, okay, okay, good.
Ini kan start record lah.
Dah start buat.
Dah start record. Dah dah. Dah dah.
For our estimate. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. She's interpreter. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Miss and my fellow group members. So, we will be presenting on the design of Mantri Coconut plant production plant from crude glycerol. So, I'm Fateh. This is Mio, Hazim, and Hazimah. Together we'll be presenting for this design project. So, I'll be doing the introduction, background of the study, and also the objective of this project. So, for introduction, this one video will have a various application in the industry, such as cosmetic, polymers, and also lubricants. However, and this production from crude glycerol to 1,3-propanediol have two possible ways to convert it, which is chemical and bioprocess reaction. So after several studies, literature review, and all the background study we performed, and compare both chemical and biological process, we decided to do biological process because it is advantageous over the chemical because it has high product yield, low energy input, and as well as more environmental safe. And also, this microbial conversion from crude glycerol, we perform with various bacteria, yeast, fungi, and microalgae. So, the objective of this project is to conduct feasibility study and develop a design for Mantri PDO plant, and to achieve 99.9% purity biomass Mantri PDO from crude glycerol, as well as we have to make sure that this plant is safe and also environmentally responsible, and also minimize energy consumption to the extent that economically justified. We're moving on to the process operating mode. This is the first level of the process design. So we compare both batch and continuous mode of this reaction, and we listed the advantages, the pros and the cons. However, the decision will be made on the selection of director at level 3 later on. So batch and continuous both have advantages, same advantages and disadvantages, but we have to determine the suitability of this mode of operation with our microbial bioprocess of this Mantri PDO. So this is the second level, which is input-output structure of the flow sheet. Okay, the black box means our whole production plant. The black box is the whole production plant, including all the fermentation, evaporation, and so on. So the raw product is crude glycerol. We process it together with the bacteria, yeast, fungi, and microalgae. We go through the whole process and we produce these two products, which is Mantri PDO and water. This is the whole general process of our plant, from the crude glycerol to the 1,3-PDO. In the between, we have reaction and also filtration, and then evaporation, distillation, and 1,3-PDO. This is the
the concentration of biomass depend on the parameters such as the frequency of the feed, the concentration of feeds, and so on. So it allows a degree of control of the process and operation of the feed-based bioreactor. A feed-based reactor is also used in industry to maintain a high concentration of microorganisms as well as to reduce the feedback inhibition, especially catabolic depletion. So the other advantage of feed-based reactor is that the microorganisms are always maintained in high and healthy state. So feed-based is the most popular mode in the fermentation industry. So what is separation system?
We on separation system, level 4 design project. So basically, in order to achieve good separation system, we need to consider these three basic criteria. So the first criteria is type of separator. In order to determine what type of separator that we need to use in our project, we need to know what kind of separation that we are dealing with in our project. Because generally, there are two types of separation, which is homogeneous separation and heterogeneous separation. Homogeneous separation is the separation that involves homogeneous mixture, same phase. For example, like liquid separation, gas separation. So for this type of separation, we can use boiling point difference or volatility of the components, so that we can separate between this mixture. An example of separator like distillation column and separator and so on. So for heterogeneous separation, is the separation that involved with heterogeneous mixture, which is different phase, solid liquid phase, solid liquid separation, liquid gas separation. Type of separator that we can use is filtration, filter, centrifugation, decanter, and so on. Moving on second criteria, after we identify the type of separator, we need to know the operating condition. What is the temperature, what is the pressure that we need to use to get optimum separation system. And after that, we need to arrange our separator unit accordingly. So we need to know which one comes first, whether heterogeneous separation first or homogeneous. So usually heterogeneous separation comes first before homogeneous separation. So basically this is our separation system. For our plant, we divide the separation system into three main separation, which is filtration, evaporation, and distillation. So for filtration, it consists of microfiltration, ultrafiltration, and nanofiltration. So for microfiltration, the function is to remove large particles of unreacted glycerol, which is 5% from the reaction, and metal organic non-glycerol, which is consists of trioleate, ammoleate, ash, and so on. And biomass is used up bacteria from the fermentation, as well as fermentation media. So at this filtration, we assume 50% of the mixture will be removed at microfiltration. So for ultrafiltration, the function is to remove high molecular weight compound, which is more than 5,000 Dalton. We approximate around 30% of this component will be removed at ultrafiltration. For nanofiltration, the function is to remove smaller molecular weight compound, which is between 200 to 400 Dalton. So remaining 20%. So the function actually, if you look at the filtration, we use pump between each filtration unit to increase the pressure drop between the filtration unit to enhance the filtration rate. And then the function of heat exchanger before the microfiltration is to increase the stream pressure, stream temperature, so that the flow will be okay. Okay, next. Next section is evaporation. So for our plant, we use ripple effect evaporator. So for evaporator, the function is to remove 85% of water from the product stream. And then apart from water, there are methanol, ethanol, formic acid, and acetic acid that also also will be removed at this evaporator. So we use small increment of the picture for the evaporator to avoid 1,3-PDO from evaporize from the product stream, to avoid product stream loss, product loss. Okay. For distillation, we use to separate the acids from the product stream. So basically there are glycerol, water, methanol, ethanol, lactic acid, succinic acid, formic acid, acetic acid, and 1,3-PDO. So we use two distillation column to separate all of this mixture. So at the end of the distillation, we got 99.9% purity of 1,3-PDO, and the separation is due to boiling point difference.
Thanks to fellow members Hazim and Mio, so I will explain about heat integration. So to synthesis the heat integration by this following. First, we need to identify the stream data extraction. Secondly, we determine the delta T minimum. Next, we solve via problem table algorithm and cascade. And lastly, we will get the heat recovery. So we know in plant there are streams that need changes in temperature. Some are need to be heated to higher temperature, some are need to cool down to lower temperature. So normal way we use steams to heat. Some for cold we use cooling water system. So we can minimize the use of utility via heat integration, where we exchange heat between two streams that are viable. So first we need to identify those streams. There are 4 locations, which is stream 5 to 6. We identify the temperature is need to be heated from 7 degree to 70 degree. So whereby when the temperature need to be increased, it is cold temperature, cold stream, because cold stream need to be heated. And so does to stream location at 38 and 39. But for stream 10 to 11 and 15 to 6, we noted that there is a decrease. The stream need to be cooled down, so we identify it as a hot stream. Then after we identify the hot stream, we check from a HYSYS the heat required for that. So it is tabulated as in the table. Then after we extract those data, we need to determine the delta T minimum. So delta T minimum is, we know that for any change in heat, we must have a driving force. So that is the delta T minimum, where heat transfer from high to lower temperature. As for this project, we determine that the delta T minimum would be 20, which is fall in the range of between 10 degree to 35 degree. We solve this heat integration using the HIN software, and HIN software gives that to be, for the heat integration to be viable, the delta T minimum need to be 20. After that, we solve by the problem table algorithm, where we have those T shifted temperature, where after we develop the T shift temperature, from the software we will have first the invisible cascade, where in the invisible cascade we can determine that we need to take the most negative value, which is determined to be 139.43, 130.440. Then after we get this, we need to construct for the visible cascade. We substitute it at the most top, then iterate it until a certain point. This will be 0, where pinch occur at this region, and then the temperature would be between 53 to 50. This is where the pinch occur. After that, the software gives us that the minimum hot utility would be 130.46 kilowatt, and minimum cold utility would be 23.33 kilowatt. After that, in the report there's we call it grid diagram, where we need to find the feasible. The total heat flow without heat integration would be, for those 4 heat exchanger in initial heat without heat integration would be 260.52 kilowatt. The total heat flow with the heat integration, in the report there's a part of grid diagram. The value gives about 212.866. Then for heat recovery, we can get minus between those two is 47.65. In terms of percentage, it saves us 18.3% of heat. Okay, then I pass to my members, Hazim Brad, for instrument control.
Okay, for my second part, I will explain on instrumentation and control strategy. According to CBOK 2004, there are two basic control strategy, which is feedback control and feedforward control. So for feedback control, the manipulated variable is adjusted based on the control variable itself. So for this controller, the disturbance is not measured. Meanwhile, for feedforward control, the manipulated variable is adjusted based on disturbance. So for this case, the control variable is not measured. So another enhanced control strategy, there are two, which are ratio control and cascade control. So the function of ratio control basically is to maintain the ratio between two inlet streams. Ratio control we can use especially in reactor, to maintain the stoichiometric ratio between for the reaction to occur, as well as in mixer. For cascade control, it consists of two feedback loops. So it's more efficient than feedback itself because it consists of two feedback loops. So the response will be faster than feedback control. So for control section, we divided into 4 different main sections, which is for bioreactor, filtration unit, evaporator, and decision column. So for control strategy of bioreactor, the main parameter that we need to control here is the temperature of the reactor, which is to maintain at ambient temperature, which is 37 to 40 degrees C. So in order to maintain the reactor temperature, we need to manipulate the flow rate of cooling water. So this temperature can be controlled by using cascade control. And for another parameter, we need to control also pH of the solution of the reactor, because the reaction will produce a lot of acids. So we need to ensure that the acid, the pH inside the reactor is around 6.5 to 7.5. I mean within neutral, so that the bacteria can do the conversion well. So for batch controller, for batch operating mode, we need to control the flow rate of the glass rod. So we use feedback control to control the flow rate. For filtration, the main parameter here will be the flow rate, temperature, and level. So for flow rate, the manipulated variable will be the inlet flow rate before the filtration. So we use feedback control to control the flow rate. And for temperature also, we need to ensure that the temperature before it enter the stream, the product stream enter the filtration, we need to ensure that the temperature is at 70 degrees C. And the liquid inside the tank also need to be maintained because sometimes the level can increase faster. So we use feedback control to control the level. So for evaporator, the parameter that we need to monitor here is especially the pressure and temperature. So for pressure, we need to manipulate the vapor stream flow rate to maintain the pressure at 0.5 atm. We use feedback control to control the pressure, as well as temperature. We use feedback control to control the temperature inside the evaporator. So to manipulate the temperature, we need to control the flow rate of the steam. So last part is decision column. This is a very important part since it important thing for digestion column is the temperature, the pressure, the liquid level, and the composition. So we need to monitor this parameter very precise because it can affect our turbidity. So to control temperature of condenser and boiler, we use feedback control. So we need to control the steam flow rate and cooling water to control the condenser and boiler temperature. For pressure, we use feedback control to manipulate the vapor stream flow rate. And for level, we need to maintain to ensure that the column is not overflow, so that the separation can occur inside the digestion column. We use feedback control loop. So for composition, to control the composition at the top and at the bottom of the column, we use feedback control. So the manipulated variable is refractive ratio and flow rate of liquid at the boiler. So basically, this is the overall PID of our project. For the first phase, it consists of raw material storage tank, and the main section for the reaction consists of seed and production fermenter. For the second phase, there are consists of filtration, evaporator, and distillation. So you can see the PID to get a clear view of it. Then we pass to water.
Okay, for safety and loss prevention, the key objective of hazard are first to identify the potential hazard which result from mistake and deviation from an operation. Certain measure and approval are used to decrease the outcome of potential deviation. And lastly, it is for further identification of safety measures to minimize the potential hazard and danger to a reasonable level. So here is to conduct the hazard study, we follow the step-by-step methodology, which involves we identify the study node. Second, we select the node that need to be studied. Third, select the guide word and parameter like the height flow, height temperature, no flow, and so on. And list the potential causes and its consequence that may face, and then recognize the safeguard that available at the process to mitigate the event. And lastly, carry out the recommendation and action required to prevent the accident from occur. Then if another process guide work and then the new notes are available, so we repeat the step again. Okay, the selection of node are based on the hazardous of material, the critical operating condition like the high temperature, high pressure. It is must connected to at least one major equipment and equipment that have experienced significant changes. So the study node that we selected in this 1,3-PDO production is first inlet stream to the production fermenter, second the production fermenter itself, third the production stream from production fermenter to evaporator, and lastly is distillation column. So here is the example of the hazard study for the first node, which is inlet stream to production fermenter. For example, for deviation is high flow, the possible causes is flow control valve fail and start open, leading to more flow due to unable shut of water. Control valve from crude gas tank fail and start open. Malfunction of controller pump has been left running. So from this all causes, it may resulting in the pressure pull up on the piping, leading to overpressure, potential piping leakage, overfill of inlet stream and possible runaway, and overfill of production fermenter and possible overpressure. So from this consequence, to mitigate the accident, so the safeguard and action required are like to update and check the maintenance procedure and flow control valve maintenance schedule, refer to SOP, install high level alarm, regular provision check on fixed streamline throughout the operation, and so on. Okay, next is the example of study node for the second reaction, which is the production fermenter, where the conversion of crude gas flow to 1,3-PDO via anaerobic fermentation take place. So for example, the temperature high, the possible causes might be the cooling water temperature supply is high, the valve fail and start close, the malfunction controller, the leakage of the control valve, blocking of cooling water supply stream. So in order, from all these causes, it may cause the cooling system capacity limited, the low conversion of 1,3-PDO and based on the raw material availability, the price of land, the market, the energy availability, the flood and fire protection, and so on. So we have compared with 3 locations, which are the Pasir Gudang, Johor, Gebeng Kuantan Pahang, and also Pulau Indah, Selangor. From this criteria, we rank it from 1 to 5. 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. From this rank, we calculate the value and calculate for the average. The highest average would be the best plan location, which is decided at Gebeng Kuantan Pahang. So we choose Gebeng Kuantan Pahang as the best plan location because the raw material availability could be obtained from the FGD Biotechnologies and Mission Biotechnology, with their annual production of 1,500 and 35,000 metric ton per year. And the foresight characteristic, the price of land at the Gebeng Kuantan Pahang is the most cheaper compared to the Pasir Gudang and Pulau Indah. The Perbadanan Air Pahang Berhad would supply water with RM 0.92 per volume, which is the most cheapest among the three. And so we decided that Gebeng Kuantan Pahang is the most suitable for the production of 1,3PDO plant. Okay. So this is the plan layout for our plant. So for the process area, it consists of the all process equipment and hazard that may occur. So the process area is consists of the control room, the loading area, storage area, utility area, and so on. For non-process area, it usually occupies the smaller part of the plant site, and it consists of the administration building, workshop, warehouse, and assembly area, and so on. Okay, for the safety strategy should be taken into consideration in order to locate the plant layout. So in most area that exposed to with the possibility to fire and explosion, safety must be the top priority. So several considerations are the spacing. Spacing between the process unit is necessary to restrain the fire from spreading to the adjacent equipment and also to avoid loss. And drainage to ensure there is no spilling of material. Material might be combustible, harmful, and so on. So isolation or depression valve, passive fire protection is to minimize the harm and also to keep the chain of the explosion from occurring. Okay, active fire protection like the fire extinguisher, equipment box, and hydrant also must be available at the plant location. And appropriate training should be given to each personnel who enter the process area, and also the plant should satisfy the classification of hazardous area like the zone 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 7. So next I will proceed.
So we are halfway through the end of the presentation. We presented on the waste treatment. The waste produced from the plant need to be treated before we safely discharge it to the environment. And also, we identify the waste product from the plant, and also by referring to the laws and standards set by the government. So waste identification from the major equipment is as registered in the table. So it consists mostly on the acidic solution, acidic chemical, and also in a gas form we have hydrogen and carbon dioxide. So this is the wastewater treatment strategies that we've been suggested. We start from the wastewater from the plant, and we collect it in the equalization tank so that it has enough retention time, 24 hours, for most of our wastewater containing the bacteria from the fermentation reactor, and also in the form of sludge. So we put it in the equalization tank to have enough retention time, and also stabilize the flow rate, and draw it to the flash mixing tank by flowing the lambazine for the pH adjustment. This pH adjustment is important for the coagulation in the coagulation tank. So for the coagulant we use ferric chloride so that to form the transferred to sludge holding tank, while the wastewater treated with the pH adjustment is safely discharged to the domestic network. The sludge holding tank will move the sludge and also a few amount of liquid to the MBR, which is membrane bioreactor, where the sludge is where the sludge stays in the membrane bioreactor, and the liquid and it will be treated in that membrane, and the treated sludge will be disposed to landfill. So so for the gas pollutant treatment, we have carbon dioxide. So gas to be scrubbed is carbon dioxide with scrubbing solution. Usually that is the popular scrubbing solution is amine based. The gas will, CO2 gas will flow through the scrub, and the scrubbing solution will take up the CO2 gas, and the fan will transfer the low amount of CO2 and release it to the safely release it to the environment. So the laws and standard for carbon dioxide is for motivation guideline is 5,000 ppm with 90 microgram per meter cube. This is compliance in 1997 using nation standard guideline for air gases pollutant. These are the laws and standards set by the Environmental Quality Act and applies to all plant in Malaysia. That's all for my part.
Okay. Last but not least, the process economics and cost estimation. For also for this project, first thing first is we want to know the potential, the economic potential. If economic potential positive, then we can further details into the economic evaluation. So for the for the economic potential, we have EP1, EP2, where following where in this table we have the products and also the raw material. So the product, of course, we produce 1,3 propanediol. So the price we have determined it to be $5 per kg. So we from the GGDP we have lots of numbers ranging from $1 until $12, and some even $200. So for this group we use $5 per kg with the production rate of 1250 kg per hour. So it's equal to 10,000 metric ton per year, which is our plant capacity, which produce the revenue of 50 million USD. For raw material, we have crude glycerol, and then this is the fermentation media. For the microbes, there's a bit of it's consistent. We don't have any data for microbes. Price. It's a bit tricky to find an exact number because that part our coordinator already mentioned to us. We assume that it's already included in the fermentation media. Fermentation media is from potassium hydrogen phosphate up until calcium chloride. Fermentation media is, as my friend mentioned, is the food source for the microbe for it to digest and proceed with the reaction. So total of raw material would be around 70 million. So we have the EP1 where revenue minus raw material around 32 million USD, still positive. Next, after this we proceed to EP2 where we consider the utility price also. So we assume a flat rate electric tariff to be 54 cents in RM. We convert to USD to 0.084. The conversion we use forex as of November value between USD to RM around 1 USD to 4.4. So we have the utility cost per year around 3.19 million. So still economic potential 2 would be 29 million, still positive. Then so it shows us that we might have something with the project. Further into details, we see into economic evaluation. Of course, economic evaluation would be the cash outflow. cash outflow would be divided into the capex, what we have initial money, and then also the opex operating. Capex we divide into fixed capital investment (FCI) and working capital cost (WC). Working capital investment (WCI). Where fixed capital investment we divide into direct and physical plant cost. Opex we divide into indirect and direct cost, where it's further details into operating cost, variable operating cost, and general cost. For capex, the most important things we need to calculate is the cost estimation of the equipment. For this, we estimate using the method that we learned from the Robin Smith, as in our coordinator, Robin Smith's textbook. So in that we have lots of correlation, where we have cost base, we have the capacity in terms of each equipment, divide by its base, and then using the factorial method for material. This is the estimation. So this table presented all the main things in our plan. The total would be somehow will be 18.725 million. This is a rough one. Okay, this is a really rough one. Then after this, we have those factorial number. 18.725, that value earlier, it showed us a purchase cost of the equipment, but we did not consider the cost on its installation, cost for contractor, etc., electrical, piping. So we multiply it with the factorial correction of 3.4. We get the physical plant cost PPC would be 63 million. Then for fixed capital investment, we have formula of PPC multiplied by 1.45, which is 1.45 is also the correction factor. Would be then the fixed capital investment FCI would be around 92 million. Then the working capital, we follow also the standard as per Robin Smith, will be 15% of the FCI. Then it will be around 30 million. Sum of these fixed capital investment and working capital investment, the capex for our plant is around nearly 106 million. Next, after determining the capex, then we need to determine the operating opex. For opex, the most important thing is the raw material itself. This is the same as in EP1 and EP2. We also have utility cost, because this what we use every year per annum. Is the same. Raw material would be around 70 million. The utility cost would be around 3.1 million. Then further we have fixed operating cost. Then fixed operating cost, we have maintenance, miscellaneous labor up until supervision cost. And then the remark is the formula also following the Robin Smith. Like maintenance, we have assumed 2% of our FCI, and so on until supervision cost, where we assume it's around 30% of the operating labor cost. The total would be around 2 million USD per annum. So next, after we got these three numbers, fixed operating cost, variable operating cost, and general cost, adding up these three, our OPEX would be around 26 million USD per annum. Then from that, we can determine our gross income per year. So revenue minus total operating cost. Per year we get around 33.65, around 33 million USD. It's a positive number. Then after that, we do the economic analysis. Of course, we must have assumption. We have follow the Petronas Technical Standard. Plant life is around 15 years. We assume plant operate 8,000 hours per year. We set the MARR to be 50%. We assume, following the Robin Smith method also, the plant construction period is 3 years before commence to production. So the investment cost, capex will be focused in those 3 years. The operating cost, sales income and cost of raw material we assume constant around the plant life to make the calculation easier. Then we also included that yearly income tax to be 35% from the profits to the government. Then we assume that market value is equal to the celebration value. I think for the most important for economic analysis is the payback period where we get the money back in which year. So starting from the graphs is not clear, but this is the axis. You have -3, and then this is 1 because it's 2 and 3. 1 is the first operating year. This is we assume 3-year backward here is the construction. Then up 1 till 15. So the payback period from this graph would be around 5. Supposedly 5. What is the 5. In the report that we already included, it will be in the 5th year of operation, or if we take from year 0, it will be 8 years after project commence. If we include also the 3 years of construction. So that's it from last chapter. I pass to Atin for conclusion.
Okay. So for the conclusion, we achieved 99% purity of Menteri Pemberdayaan. This is done by the IC software, and we proved that we got that purity 99% after the whole process. And the selected plant location, as mentioned earlier by Azima, it is at Debing, Kuantan Pahang, with the plant capacity of 10,000 metric ton per year. And it is proven that from the bioprocess plant, we got the environmental friendly plant that successfully designed, and also as previously presented by Mio, that it was proven to be economically feasible for this project. And as for the recommendation, we have a very few literature studies that was our biggest challenges for this project, because for the bioprocess plant there is no pilot plant, as we got the 1 PDO plan, but the information is very few shared by the company. And also we have to have more exposure on the bioprocess software, so that we can have a proper process design for this bioprocess. And also advanced analysis should be done for this, because this mostly is what we've got from the literature, and also the and also plan design works so that the plan design work at ideal conditions and parameters. That's all for our presentation. And also Q&A.
On the operation mode, you refer this to the reactor, is it?
Our reactor is referred as our fermenter, where we have divided into 2, which is seed fermenter and also production fermenter. For the seed fermenter, we have to gather all the nutrients for it to have it live, stabilize the microorganism, and also and then the stabilized microorganism we transfer it to the production fermenter for conversion with crude glycerol feeding.
Okay. So basically you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reactor. So this is from the tank going to the. You have 1 reactor here.
Yeah. We got 6 but operate in parallel.
So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at one time how many operating?
For the production, our fermentation is 48 hours untuk the react sahaja, for it to react. However, we include all the sterilization process, so it up So we estimate to be 50
Hours.
hours.
So total how many days?
2 days.
About 2 days lah. So basically all your reactor will be operated.
No, it will be operated in a parallel sequence, which is, for example, okay, this 2 reactor we operate. So that, because we have to have a retention time 48 hours for the microorganism to react.
Time within the each step. So for example, like for this reactor will operate now. So another 8 hours this operator will be run, and another 8 hours this reactor will be run. So after finish all the reactor, then we can have
The flow will be continuous, right? So
Continuous,
that
I know. Your reactor is batch, but you want to have a continuous flow. So that's why you have more than one.
Actually, we have to put perluan in PDP we put in window because we don't.
So basically maybe like 2 or 3 under fermentation, so this one you can
Release.
release the product already.
While it's under maintenance, some of it still will have this outflow of the product.
Okay, I understand. Right, Alan di sini. So what's the objective of this lesson?
The objective of the master is to stabilize the microbe. So we know that microbe is very sensitive. So since it's very sensitive, we need to stabilize it first with fermentation media. Fermentation media is the food for the microbe, so that we can just that jump to react directly that chemical reaction.
Okay. So basically you put inoculum and fermented media.
Where the microbiome is being produced in masses. We build a plan.
Yeah. Big. So your microbe, untuk functioning, do you need like nitrogen ke, air ke?
The microbe, literature review would say that either those between those conditions whether aerobic or anaerobic, it still can proceed with reaction. That if we don't put oxygen, it still can convert. But then still, because the pressure the reactor is big, so we want to have equal mixings. If not, the microbes tend to coagulate at certain part of the reactor, it concentrated, not across the reactor. So we use compressor for aeration to give push the bubble.
So you have one compressor supplying to 6. Why do you want to maintain the compressor? Same goes for pump. You can do maintenance if you have batches that you have. You can do maintenance on this train and this pipe can operate. But for the compressor and same goes for the right. Okay, so after that, after the reactor, you masuk dalam a series of tank. So I'm interested to know why you need like a series of tank.
Actually, the function of buffer tank is to reduce the disturbance. This disturbance here is the flow rate of from the filtration. So we know that micro, ultra, nano, they have different size of membrane.
So there will be
So-
huge pressure drop.
Huge pressure drop
So
between
this
this.
is micro. Okay, so this is like buffering in between processes.
Because when we filter, the flow rate will slow down. So
We need to capture those volume first.
Okay, your filter. Do you need maintenance? So your flow is in series, right? Yeah. What happens if you want to maintain this one? Can you get the continuous flow?
one because micro ultrafiltration you have a tube like of structure, then those tubes are stacked in the cubic, then those stack. It will be thousands of them, right?
Okay, so you can replace one.
Ah, yeah. We search for those images and it's not just in a cube, simple cube, then we maintain it all cannot be used.
Alright. Okay. So after go to the series of filtration, so you want to remove what are the purpose of the filtration? You want to remove
Unreacted cholesterol plus biomass. Biomass is used up material.
Use up bacteria.
biomass. It's a do you have like solid here?
It named from our literature is named as biomass, but it doesn't mean it's biomass. Literally, because it's the conversion is 95%. Our cholesterol,
So that's what
5% unreacted, and then together with the dead microbes, it somehow like form together a new substance, and then those substance when we do research have lots of name, so
okay, but it's in a solid phase lah.
somehow like a something.
So you remove here lah. We remove solid also here. Okay. And then you go to this evaporator. So this is to remove water, correct? And this one also to remove water.
This one is for remove to purify TPO from acid. From the reaction we got so many acid, formic acid, acetic acid, lactic acid, succinic acid.
So you remove the acid here. So you remove the water here.
Somehow when we do high Cs, if we do remove 85% of the water first, we cannot have two distillation column. It might come 3 to 5. If not, we don't have this part. We assume that distillation unit operation will remove those water. Some of the product we desire for GPDO we losses with the water stream, so then we don't have 99%.
You don't have the yield.
The desired yield.
Why water going out from the top?
Yep.
Vapor. So you vapor. Oh, so you heat kat mana?
Actually, the bottom.
So basically, do you need a pump here? On this tank? So the tank is atmospheric, right?
Actually, we need to add pump. Yeah. We need to add pump.
So you pump here. You see here is vapor. So basically, can your pump operate if there's vapor present?
Vapor here we heat, yeah.
Oh, so you are
Then
heat lah. So
if you look at the energy,
oh, okay. Okay, if you look at vapor, heat. Oh, so you inject water, steam. So you inject steam. So you inject steam. How do you process it? You inject steam, and then the water boils. Is it? Water and your product is 120 right? Which one is more volatile? Which one is you simulate this using ICs lah. So water goes up.
water goes up. If we arrange the component according to the boiling temperature, so one TPDO located third last among the component.
The
So
body temperature also quite big.
Singapore juga gitu. Why? Okay, specifically, why you separate it into three, not combine into one? Because like
we increase temperature too high, then one
TPO.
TPO we lost more. We lost more one TPO. So we increase it slightly
Slight increment.
from 85 to 92 degree, and then from 92 to 100 degree.
Due to the temperature sensitivity of 1 GPDO.
Oh, dia takut dia boleh
Ah.
everest.
Product loss.
To
So,
avoid
19.
product loss.
19 temperature dia, so temperature is 19 is 50. Eh, 50. 29 is 55. And 23 is 92. Can. So basically have you tried combining this and
This one
separate
development.
this and then compare in terms of losses apa semua?
Compare?
Dekat sebab macam like you can just like supply all the heat into one column, right?
One evaporator.
Evaporator only compared to
Three.
gradually introducing heat, kan?
Hmm.
Is there any difference you make comparison?
The next loss of different our 1 GPDO will be vaporized also with the water around 30%. With that analysis.
So more lah.
Even like say to get 10,000 metric ton per year, we need to have around 1.25 metric ton. But if you see in the last bin, we get 1184 per kilogram per hour is already around of 5% loss for that. So we try to minimize using triple effect evaporator. If you use one, the number will become less.
Okay. Alright. So you masuk filter, mixer, and then pump again, heat again. Okay, preheat. And then first column
First column.
is to separate the acid, right? Acid and
Acids.
so and then you go to the reactor. Masuk ke sini. Okay, one question. Kenapa you punya product ni coming from the reboiler? You see from your diagram ni kan? The bottom product going to the reboiler, and from the reboiler you go to the column.
Same like when
Is there any reason? Sebab how much is stream 2031? 2065, right? Kan? kg. So basically, if you draw from your reboiler you have to size additional 2 ton. So is it worth it for you? And then you introduce steam kat sini. So the reboiler ni hasil sejuk macam ni.
Sebab ISIS tu dia chemical, macam specific chemical, so dia
Tak
ada
ada.
design error.
It's not design error. You need to understand lah, because like what's the purpose of reboiler? In the distillation column.
To heat up. To
heat
heat the
the-
cross column.
So you heat and then you feed it back to the column. So why do you have that circulation tu?
And to have a mass transfer
No, so
between vapor
you want to have use the heat
heat.
for the mass transfer, kan? So do you really need to heat that? You need to, how to say that, the column bottom product, do you need to heat it up using the reboiler? So tak perlu, right?
Terus.
So here you can reduce the size of the reboiler. If not, if you draw from here,
The rubber would be very
you
big.
need big.
Then the process not optimized.
here I presume to go wastewater treatment plant kan? Okay, right. And then next one. It goes from this is where you get the 99% purity, right? Okay, can you explain why for the first column, what the main your main product coming from the bottom and the last one coming from the top?
Actually, if we arrange all the components, the 13PDO will be located third below the third among the component. So here we got 13PDO, succinic acid and lactic acid.
Oh, acid is here.
So another succinic formic acid will be removed here. So if you arrange the boiling point temperature, so the
so it goes like that lah. Okay.
Ni using heavy low key.
this heavy key, low key.
Dia separate yang 13PDO kat bawah.
It's the difference in the boiling point.
Boiling point.
Next. Okay, kita tengok balik. No worries. Okay. Sekejap slow sikit. Separation, alright, we cover separation already. Go next. We cover this. Integration. Semangat. So heat integration ni, in terms of the selection of heat exchanger, you consider
Integration tu dekat part filtration unit ni, and then dengan part yang
how do you decide which streams to go tube side or shell side?
that one
We haven't decided.
because for that part we have the minor and major.
So do you need to do the equipment sizing?
Yes, you need to do in the major and minor report.
One
For
for individual.
individual.
Okay, but you need to decide jugalah whether you going to go to
Kalau heat
shell.
exchanger tu shell tube, cross flow or counter flow semua kena juga.
Next. Control. Okay. Okay, sekejap kita go to column. Okay. I notice there's scrubber everywhere, but where's the scrubber inside the P90 and the
We don't
You just simply put the scrubber like
but then we
because,
don't
You have the scrubber right, but
Yes.
you don't have scrubber in your generic PFP kan?
we didn't put that.
The reason? Do you include that in your costing?
No.
But you need the scrubber. Do you need the scrubber?
For the gas treatment we need, but at our plant there is a gas
Dia hydrogen masuk
centralized.
tak?
That unit at the selected. So we assume that if we really need to suggest a treatment, so we need to go through scrubber. So if kalau in a real macam plant tu, we just send it to the
So
centralized.
basically,
Yeah.
you're planning to send your off gas to nearby lah for treatment.
same goes to the utility because
But
we don't have
so
any.
yang tu yang akan incur OPEX.
Then we need to
Okay.
consider
Do you consider that?
for this one we don't have it.
Alright. Bukan nak potong mata pun boleh. Okay, next. Okay, let's go. Okay, Fariza kan dia dah experience. Next. Alright, plan location sekejap. Go up. Waste disposal. Petronas scarf can treat waste.
No, quality khidmat alam Sdn Bhd.
Oh, so the Petronas scarf is for what?
Gas
Supply.
centralized utilities.
So waste disposal? Last three column. Last three row.
Khidmat quality berhala Muslim.
So that one ada Petronas Club also, right? Why?
Oh.
I don't think dia boleh handle waste, tapi
In terms of gas, I think dia still collecting as a waste for
the okay, alright. Maybe they can handle that. Alright. Next. Sekejap, Sekejap, boleh tengok sekejap. So, actually I cannot see actually when you explain just now. That is future expansion. Bottom right tu kan? And then that future expansion. So where you process area?
okay.
Process area would be this one.
Alright.
Because this is Winners Gate at the back.
So where's your entrance? Sorry.
Entrance from here for the non-process area.
Uh-huh.
You have entrance at the back for raw material coming in. Storage side. Then see this one where the seed fermenter, this is the production fermenter, the processing area. Transfer from raw to process. And from process to separation area.
Uh-huh.
Then this is we have a loading cave for product
Okay.
where those can be transferred via another gate in the background.
Okay. So your admin building semua kat at the
At the front.
front tu kan? Kat parking lot I presume.
Yes.
Okay. Next. Okay. Waste treatment. Can I see the plan just now? The table, waste treatment bawah. Okay. So, you send your hydrogen to your CO2 to scrubber. How about hydrogen?
Hydrogen
Also to scrubber.
both gas. I mentioned only WSX just now, but actually it is both gas goes to scrubber.
Okay. Do you have any solid waste? Ash content. That one.
We presume it for the ash content we will have the macam the exact macam flow rate yang major. So this is for only from waste identification from major equipment, from the macam mining equipment semua ada, tapi macam dia together with the liquid, with the acid solution.
So, okay. So you said just now your reactor is like coagulate and then ada forming solid deposit also kan? So is that ash?
Actually is more. Metal.
Wait, not that one.
Not ash, but it is metal. Organic
Actually,
non-glycerol.
consists of glycerol itself, more.
Mong the
Metal,
mong.
organic, non-glycerol.
That one is solid. Mong.
Kind of solid, but it is mixed together with the liquid. So it is sweet or
Tapi that is a waste also lah, right?
We
So-
don't want it in.
So it will be a shadow waste lah, right? You're not going to treat it. So basically, all that waste tu is a shadow waste lah, and water.
water will discharge to
Maybe you can separate yang mana shadow, yang mana which one you want to treat. Tapi
okay. Untuk the next thing.
you can. What is your shadow waste? Okay. What is your effluent? The water. You're going to treat water, and then you're going to dispose kan?
So which one is
water
that need to
treatment? Yeah.
separate?
Because that when you do that, that will be your basis for your the sizing lah memang for your, let's say your effluent, right? Which water you want to send to which water waste which waste you want to send to the wastewater treatment. So you can, and then you can add up, that will be the basis for your wastewater treatment punya capacity.
To further details.
Okay, so basically wastewater utilization, okay, and go next. There's something on the environmental punya requirement. Next. Okay, start here. Right. Okay.
Because here we should be including the BOD, COD thing. But because I think we have a limited
time for presentation, so I just put the general quality schedule. But for BOD, COD, there is two standards, standard A and standard B. We've listed required COD, BOD, and also the potassium,
So you
phosphorus punya requirement.
So you follow schedule A or schedule B?
So for our report, we included the table. So as for standard A is for discharge into inland water, but standard B applicable for other inland waste. So meaning that for this effluent from our plant, we follow standard applicable discharge to inland water.
Standard A.
Standard A.
Tak apalah, tak tanya dia detail. Alright, actually I have a comment here. The second one, Clean Air Regulation, that is supersede already 1974. There's a new Clean Air Regulation 2014. Maybe nanti you punya report you kena ubah kot. You need to follow yang 2014 punya kak. You need to correct that lah.
Ada amendment 2014.
It's like the revoke terus. It's not amendment. 2014 is not amendment. It's more to revoke. They have another SICA 2014.
Not EQA.
It is under EQA, but under EQA there's a regulation kan. So they revoke the second one. EQA regulation 1974. They have a Clean Air Regulation 2014. Okay, bagus kot sebab kita dah 2016 sekarang. Okay. Alright, next. Cost estimation. Sekejap. Janganlah tulis sampai 4%. Tak apa. Tak ada duit, 1 sen nak bayar. Alright. Alright. Sekejap apa yang nak nanti? Go down.
So sticky one.
Okay, tak apa, it's okay. Actually, when you work, there's a person dedicated to do this for chemical engineering. We call them cost estimator.
Cost estimator.
So as a designer, you produce the equipment list,
Then give the parameter.
bagi and then give the information to them.
Then they estimate.
Tapi it's good for a process designer to know because like and then because when you do the sizing, you have the feeling tau. So you have the feeling of the cost apa semua. It's good for you to know, but when working, they are the specific person doing this. So okay, running back to this. I should ask this earlier sebenarnya. For your reaction, coming from the reactor, is there any potential for off-spec? How do you monitor the
Off-spec or
off specification? Tak meet specification.
Potential, the potential if the temperature drop becoming more than 40 degree, then the microbe will not react.
So there is lah.
There is possibility.
There is possibility. Okay. From your reactor ni, let's say one of your reactor, let's say reactor B lah, producing an off-spec product. So how you plan to handle that? You need like a off-spec plan.
Actually, it's not an offset product, but it's the conversion. Maybe less conversion.
So, okay.
So
That's why
that's why we accumulate here. Then we actually it's not offset, but maybe the conversion less
Okay.
conversion.
What is the conversion? Berapa conversion?
Conversion
Each reactor, berapa percent?
no, each reaction
is
0.65 yield lah.
yield 0.65, conversion ni 95% of
Maybe
cholesterol
if
to
temperature deviate, maybe conversion is less.
Conversion
Maybe we
is
got
less.
0.8.
and then raw material remain.
So raw material ini, where do you separate the raw material? Where you separate the product and the raw material from?
So we separate here. filtration. We remove.
Tapi kalau ospec means banyak raw material terkeluar sekali. So dia ada mekanism
So
tak
will it
safeguard.
affect your,
Then banyak waste keluar.
so means like your burden your, let's say,
Filtration.
your filtration.
Then patut should have a tank to check the spec. The recycle back.
You can have like an ospec tank, or you have like a,
Kalau ospec tank besides each reactor,
it's not economical. Maybe you can have a common and
Common.
have another line going to the ospec tank. And then you do two. If you do ospec, but
ospec recycle back.
cycle. Maybe you, how do you detect the ospec? Temperature?
Composition,
Temperature run off. But
temperature run off.
temperature run off. If you ada temperature run off, you masuk the ospec tank first, test first before going to
Testing.
this tank.
This
You can have a smaller,
smaller pressurized tank.
smaller tank just to handle the ospec. Kalau you tengok ada temperature run sikit, you masuk the ospec tank, test first.
Test then
If it's okay,
proceed. If not, recycle back.
Recycle back lah.
masuk ke sini je lah. You can masuk ke sini, recycle back. Is it an option? Boleh.
So for this thing tak ada safeguard mechanism untuk that thing. We need to include it.
You can have like,
Smaller.
because the size of this one is equal to, how many you operate at one time? 4. 4, right? So you can design the ospec tank only just to handle from one
One
reactor.
reactor.
Smaller, don't have to.
Because we expect ospec is much more.
Alright, tak apa. Alright, okay. Next, tak ada lagi. Alright, no, next. Okay, tak ada lagi. Cepat-cepat sikit. Stay back 5 years kan. Recommendation, completion. Alright, thank you.
Tak ada soalan lagi tak?
Nak lagi ke?
Kalau saya nak tanya, kalau macam batch punya simulation, kalau dapatkan dah ada tak batch simulation, like macam high seas, tu dengan continuous flow, steady
Continuous.
state,
Macam tak apa
accurate untuk buat.
Batch reactor.
Bukan like this one is batch reaction.
we try to make it continuous.
But then for our reactor has mentioned to us that we assume this 12 thing, 6 in a window, like we assume that first, before entering the window, the flow rate is like we mentioned, then out from the this, but in actual plans, they must be deviate because not all reactor operate at the same time.
I think
So
for
Hasis
you,
tadi say interesting.
I see cannot simulate the batch and then to continuous. You need to do continuous je kan?
Tapi kalau real macam real untuk handle case ni ada tak?
No, you don't actually when doing simulation you cannot simulate the actual operation that you're going to
They must be
do.
Condition.
Dia ada like macam I think your approach is okay because tapi you need to understand lah because you can maybe you can separate fit into batch one and then coming from here is continuous. You macam mana? I presume like how many reactor is on operation?
Semua operation, semua masa dia.
Sorry,
Start
yang mana yang
jalan dulu.
yang you have the fermentation kan? Yang tak undergo the fermentation is which one? How many? So you kira 3 under fermentation, 3 finish fermentation. Is it the philosophy? So
buat tu gila-gila.
Ah.
So yang ni release, yang ni operate.
Dia tengah
yes,
maintenance.
so basically 3 lah kan? So basically 1 to 3 ni you can assume satu simulation the flow kat sini coming from this tree. So macam mana? Going to the feed, go to this tree.
So pecahkan simulation itu.
Boleh. Boleh juga. Tapi you just need to understand lah the because when you pecah tu, so you know that your punya downstream ni after the reactor ni, you only design for 3 reactor ni. Design macam ni. InsyaAllah.
The challenging part is one. Dash. And design.
Boleh kot, actually kalau buat simulation, doesn't have to be like continuous
Design.
flow, boleh pecah-pecahkan.
Sebab dia rasa macam ala-ala that
Yes, you need to
Ala-ala.
studio bed.
Ah.
Studio continuous.
studio batch, continuous batch. Okay, boleh senang lah tu.
Tak.
Alright, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Ambil gambar untuk tulis.